my advice to them is to firstly, I have a couple of things to tell them. Firstly, is to do justice to themselves. If they are students of IS Gurukul, so they have such facilities accessible to them. They have really good faculty to help them, to guide them. Make use of this opportunity. Ultimately, it's not about clearing or not clearing. It's about doing 100% justice to your preparation. You have such good teachers, such good material with you, such good answer writing programs. So make complete, utilize it, use it really well, take the maximum benefit out of it, do 100% justice to yourself. Secondly, for those who have taken sociology optional, I can guarantee you this is a fantastic optional. It will not only help you in UPSC, it will help you in your life. Okay, please enjoy the process. Enjoy. If you're thinking confused about optional, take sociology. I have taken it. I can vouch for it. It's definitely good. It's scoreable. If you're just looking at it from a practical perspective, scoreability is definitely there. Syllabus is small, but larger than that, it's a wonderful subject which I feel every human being should study. So it will enrich you as a person. It will mold your personality. So definitely, I would advise you to take sociology. And thirdly, my parting advice is that please stay happy. Life is big. Life is large. I know that this is an exam in which people come with a lot of dreams and hopes. And when we fail in this exam, we become too hard on ourselves. Sometimes we become bitter. We live the rest of our lives in the bitterness that we couldn't clear this. So please don't go there. Be happy. Be happy. Life is larger. If this doesn't happen for you, something else, something bigger, some other opportunity will happen for you. But I hope that you clear this exam and this happen for you. And all the best. Do well. Prelims is nearby. All the best to all of you. Yes.
Anu, let's begin with a brief background introduction about you, so that the students can know what is the academic background you come from, right? And what kind of a family background, if you would like to share a bit, that will be nice.
Okay. So I come from Thrissur in Kerala, which is famous for the Thrissur Puram. My academic background is I've done my master's in integrated English studies, integrated MA English studies from IIT Madras.
Yes.
Then sir, am I audible? Sometimes the exactly the frame is getting frozen in between. I suppose there's some issue with the net. Okay, so I'll carry on.
Please.
Background wise, I'm the only child of my parents. My father is an engineer. He was in the Kerala irrigation department. He retired. My mother used to work in Canara Bank. She was a divisional manager there, and she also took voluntary retirement.
So, did you have any academic background in sociology before you took it up as an optional subject here?
Sir, actually, in my course that I did in IIT was a very interdisciplinary program. So even though it is English studies, we had a lot of courses, including on ethics, on democracy, etc. So similarly, we had courses on Indian society. So there was a course called Indian society. There were other courses on field methods and research, technology, field methods and research theories, and one course like that. So in that course, I actually worked with the transgender community in Chennai. I did a project with them. So there was definitely an interaction with elements in Indian society. So that is one inspiration. That was the major inspiration for me to take sociology instead of taking English. I had actually topped my batch. So a lot of people told me, yes. So I passed out to the ranks. So a lot of people told me, why don't you take, evidently you're good. So why don't you take English literature and proceed there? And I write also. So generally when you have a tendency to write, you tend to score more marks if you take literature as an optional.
Absolutely.
But I wanted to study Indian society. I told them I'm going to work in Indian society, and with my recent experience in the subjects related to Indian society, I want to learn it as a subject.
Great. Okay, Anu, can you share with us what is it that motivated you to join the civil services?
Sir, it's actually a long story. When I was young, the first time this idea came to me was when I was 10 years old. So that time a very popular Malayalam movie came out in which there was this IAS officer doing grand things. So that was my inspiration at 10 years. Then my father works with the government. So he interacts with a lot of civil servants. So from when I was young, he used to come and tell me, if you want to do anything good, this is a good opportunity. If you become an IAS officer, there is so much things that you can do for people. Then, roughly when I was in college, I tried starting an NGO because I was in the NSS and I generally like this whole society and social work, and that's my interest area. So I was in the NSS, so I wanted. So what we were teaching under my NSS program, we were teaching students of a nearby government school English, how to speak English. Then a couple of my friends and I tried to start an NGO. It was called the Change Maker. It's very cliche title. It was called the Change Makers. So I was 19 or 20 that time. We started an NGO, tried to start, but then there were some legal hurdles for that. You had to register some property as the NGO's headquarters. There were some legal issues. So at that age, I realized that this is too much. And so the other path is to write an exam and be a civil servant. And because I'm always good in academics, I thought this is something I can do. So if you really want to bring in a change, it's the simple desire is not enough. You have to be in a position to bring in that change.
Very
So I thought this is a way where I'll be in a position to bring change in a large scale. Small things we can do as humans daily, but on a large scale, you need to be in a position also.
Very incredible. So
that was my inspiration.
Your preparation may have started as an adult, but the seeds were sown right at a very early age, at the age of 10, 11. And throughout that was reinforced.
Yes, they have such a people look up to them, and it's as in sociology like this. It's a positive reference group. There's so much hope when somebody sees a civil servant. That's why I always felt that people actually look at civil servants with a lot of hope, and that positive reinforcement is there from when we are young. Definitely.
Very nice. So Anu, another thing, you must have faced a lot of roadblocks, a lot of demotivating factors over this very long stretched preparation of 5+ years.
5 years.
Yeah. So how did you keep yourself motivated? Right? And what were those major roadblocks that you encountered?
Sir, actually, after the results came, when a lot of people started, all the congratulations and everything started pouring.
Yes.
I actually shared my failure story on Facebook. Okay, I wouldn't call it my success story. I call it my failure story. About it was written in Malayalam. I wrote it from my heart. I had no idea, but it turned viral. The post turned viral because a lot of people could relate to it. Basically, that was about how the last 5 years has been for me. And one thing that I feel, it was very difficult because especially when you're a girl, people expect you to get married at a certain age and or have a proper job. I was teaching at an IS institute, but that is not considered as a mainstream job by a middle class family. So there was a lot of pressure on me to get married. So I written about all that. There was weight gain, there was stress, everything. But one thing I felt that motivated me throughout these 5 years is that I had absolute clarity on why I was writing this exam. It was not that I wanted to be a glorious person or anything. I really wanted to be in a place where I can bring in change. So that one thing was always there. So every time I would face a failure and I'd go at night to sleep, I'd tell myself, your heart is in the right place. So one day God is going to see that, and that opportunity is going to present itself. So I was in it for the right reasons, and that one thought was the one thing that kept pushing me. And I had that feeling, if you really want to, because if I kind of believe in God, so I feel that if it is some evil intentions, like I want power or something, then God will see that and then I won't clear. But if it is really to help people, some universe or God, somebody is going to see that, and that opportunity is going to present itself. That's what it is.
All I can say is it's very heartening to hear that from a future civil servant. Yes, that right intent and the right service orientation, which is like really needed.
Yes.
Not that power, kind of seeking power, that kind of an orientation, but that service orientation, it is really the need of the hour, right, in this country.
Yes.
So that's very nice.
Thank you, sir.
Anu, can you share with us which portion of the UPSC syllabus did you find academically most challenging?
Sir, more than a portion, I found the preliminary exam very difficult.
Yes.
It's not a particular subject, but the whole MCQ thing. It was very difficult for me. Out of my five attempts, 3 times I failed in prelims. The 2 times I cleared prelims, I cleared mains and mental interview. The last, in my third attempt, I mental interview and then I couldn't clear. Fourth
Yeah.
attempt, I failed prelims for 1 mark. So every time for preliminary exam, my marks will be in the border. It'll when we finally when the after the exam we get the coaching institutes make the key. So whenever I check my marks, it'll roughly be on the border, and all these key cut-off predictions will come, and I'll be like a cat on the wall, like either here or there. So that I found very challenging. And subject-wise, I think I think most of the subjects were equally difficult. Some subjects I liked more than the others, like sociology, geography, polity. I liked out of interest. They became. I had an easier time with them because I was genuinely interested in the subject. I think the one subject I didn't like at all was medieval India because there was too much by heart. Finally, I didn't study it. I didn't study. I have not. I'll confess it here. I have not studied that.
Uh, Coming to your optional subject, sociology.
Yes.
Is sociology a good optional, and what is it that makes it a good optional in the UPSC scheme of things?
There are several advantages to sociology, sir. I chose it out of interest, but there are other reasons also to choose why we should choose sociology. Firstly, and most importantly, Indian society is where we are going to work, and sociology paper 2 is about Indian society. So it's always good to know about where you are working. That knowledge will help you. That is one thing.
Correct.
Secondly, sociology syllabus also I feel is much shorter than other optionals such as political science and international relations. So,
Yes.
from a practical point of view, also, if you want to perform well, it is
Yes.
better to take a subject with a shorter syllabus and be absolutely thorough in it. So,
Very
from that perspective, also sociology is a good subject, and I think a lot of people clear with sociology.
correct.
I think everybody should. I think sociology should be made a compulsory subject.
Compulsory.
Honestly, that's my opinion, because your whatever biases you have towards it could be caste, it could be gender bias.
Yes.
So many things change in you when you study the subject. So I think it should be made a compulsory subject.
Absolutely. At some level in our education system, right?
Yes.
We all need that kind of a perspective or widening of horizons, should I say?
Yes.
Now, a lot of students in sociology, what they continuously ask me, how do we make our answers different from GS answers? Or what is it that, sociological, how do you make your answers sociological? Particularly in context of paper 2, right? Where you have
Yes.
seemingly many topics, many questions every year, fair number of questions, which are very GS type. Yeah. So how did you tackle that?
So this was such a major challenge for me also. I'll tell you what I did.
Please.
So whenever, I was very thorough with my thinkers.
Yes.
Very thorough with the thinkers, Indian thinkers also and Western thinkers also. That part of the syllabus I was very thorough. And whenever I would read a thinker, I would think, okay, where all can I apply this thinker? R.K. Merton is one person we can apply in a lot of government schemes, like
Correct.
this functions. So I'll identify the type of questions where I can fit in the thinker. This
Yes.
time for GS2, when the questions came, I have mentioned at least 2 thinkers in every answer, including the GS type questions. I somehow linked 1 or 2 thinkers from somewhere, like if not the mainstream thinker, 1 or 2 sociologists definitely I mentioned in my answer. That is one thing I did. Secondly, these words like commodification, feminization of poverty, the sociological terms I had made. I know this is a very kind of
So it's not lame.
not the right way to not the right way to go about it, but I had made a list of sociological terms and I just read that before the exam so that those terms are fresh in my memory. And wherever possible, I tried fitting in those terms, these terms. I mean, the sociological, the professor, I assume that a sociologist will be correcting the paper. Obviously, he'll know that this is some kind of sad attempt, but I hope it works. I mean, we don't have that much experience. We cannot have that kind of expertise in sociology as a professor would. So I
Yes.
tried fitting in some terms and quoted some thinkers. Tried to give in analysis also wherever.
So that much thinking on your feet is actually required in the examination hall, and you should, that is what is expected of you, that you are able to bring in some sort of a sociological perspective. It could be through the use of such jargon, or it could be by bringing in some sociological thinkers, right?
And I mentioned theories where possible. Some theories, because I was my only concern was this answer should not look like a GS answer. Even though it looks like, even if it looks like a funny attempt at sociology, it's fine. But I'm going to make whatever sociology I can fit into this. I'm going to fit into this. That was my attitude.
Good. Fine. Anu, tell us, like, what was your sociology optional preparation strategy, right? And what is the strategy you will also guide to other aspects for sociology?
Yes. Sir, first is studying whatever notes or whatever basic material I got from my coaching class. Then
Yes.
I referred some other books, standard books. Like now, Nitin Sangwan is quite popular, so I referred that text. And then there are these other standard books, Harold Lambos. Those I read them selectively, not the whole thing. Maybe a couple of chapters wherever I was not good. The Ramahuja,
Yes.
selectively I read those, not the whole thing. Then in Hindu, there are these writers who write sociological answers. Sonal Desai, C. Vishwanathan. Whenever they would write on sociological subject, I would actually cut those articles and keep them,
Okay.
in them. Then so that was my. So I ensured that I had the mainstream thinkers, some contemporary people, and I was constantly in touch with the subject. And whenever any important current affair thing would happen, I would think it from a sociological perspective. And this kind of helped because I actually like the subject. I
Yes.
like to think of myself as a like a junior mini sociologist in the making kind of. So I would try to come up with my own sociological analysis. So, and some of my friends were also very interested in sociology, and we would fancy ourselves as
So in the
sociologists in
future,
the
you
making.
might
So
as
we
well
would try.
pursue a formal course or degree in the discipline.
Yes.
You never
Yes,
know.
I'm planning to join, even though now, I mean, I've done with sociology attempt twice. I mean, in the sense I've already cleared, but I have planned to join MA for MA sociology because in
Yes.
future, if I want to do a PhD or something academic wise, I'd rather do it in sociology than in literature because by now I really like the subject, so I'm kind of sticking to
And this
sociology.
subject is
So
something which
interesting.
keeps one attached to itself. It's not just about a
Yes,
few months or the duration of the course that one remains
yes,
attached to the subject, right? Becomes
yes,
kind of a lifelong association.
yes, and you enjoy the subject.
Yes. Uh, Anu, can you specify the books that you read for the sociology option? List out all of them, whether selectively or fully, whichever books you have read while preparing for
Okay.
sociology.
That Nitin Sangwan textbook that I've actually referred only very less material, not
Yes.
too much. Then Harold Lambos,
Okay.
then Ram Ahuja,
The
then
blue Harlambos or the orange one?
the blue one, the big one. Not
The
this,
big blue.
I have the big one,
Yes.
the blue one. Some chapters of that,
Yes.
some parts of that actually. Then Ram Ahuja. Then there was Nathan. I'm forgetting his Nathan Hasnan.
Nadeem Hasnain.
The one who has worked on.
Nadeem
He's
Hasnain.
worked on tribes.
Yes.
Some part of his book also.
Okay.
And then some notes of my friends which they made from different books, so like that. It's not a very scholarly academic. I have seen the book list of toppers where they've read too many academic books. I have not done that.
But that is a less practical approach, very frankly. So a more practical approach is to refer to fewer number of sources, since you anyways have a very vast area to cover in your general studies as well, right?
Yes,
So
okay. Yes.
you have to be specific and very narrow in terms of the sources that you refer.
So the irony is that now I want to read those now I feel like I want to read those books also because now it's more than UPSC. Now it's the love for the subject.
Now you'll also have all the time in the world, hopefully for some
Yes.
time. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. How did sociology, did it help you in your essay paper?
It really helps in the GS1 paper, the Indian society questions. It really helps, and for essay also, every time there will be at least one essay on a society topic, either education or women or old age. So
Yes.
there it really helps. It helps you
You
definitely
think a
because
student with
especially
a sociology optional has an advantage over, say, those with other optionals in the essay paper?
absolutely, I think so. I mean, even though that depends on what essay we choose to write,
Yes.
but the human element, it will be so. Whoever is reading the essay is ultimately a human being. So
Yes.
even in a highly technical or let's say a very economy-oriented essay, if you can bring some human element, it is not like the person who's reading the essay will hate it. He'll definitely be able to connect with you at the human level. So at that in that perspective, definitely sociology students have a advantage. That's what I feel.
Anu, did now when the UPSC interview panel, when you interacted with them, so when they saw your DAF, did sociology come up, or did any questions come up because you have a sociology option?
Yes, yes. Actually, a big chunk of my interview was on social issues in Kerala.
Okay.
So where I mentioned alcoholism and how it leads to domestic violence and suicide.
Yes.
So that was a highly sociological answer. I could give that answer well in the interview because I had a sociology background, so I could actually give an academic perspective on why this is happening. Then there was direct question from sociology also. In fact, one of the initial questions I got was on M.N. Srinivas Sanskritization.
Okay.
So because I was thorough in that also, I mean that's my optional. So I could it completely changed the mood of the interview because I could answer these questions well.
Yes.
My confidence also raised, and the overall the interview went okay.
Absolutely. In fact, the UPSC board does try that, to give you some point to talk about or some area where you are comfortable. They are not there to really intimidate you. Is my reading correct? They are
Yes,
rather
yes, absolutely.
opportunity to express yourself.
Both the times I went for the interview, I got two different boards, but both the boards were very cordial. They were nice. They allowed me to speak. They didn't interject me. So overall, they were very, very nice.
Okay, Anu, one specific thing I want you to share with students is, a lot of students, they get into civil services preparation, but then they kind of opt out after having
Yes.
spent some time and, frustrated with the whole process. So,
Yes.
in terms of that emotional strength which is required to deal with that
Yes.
failure, right? Can you share some practical tips, ways which you possibly used to overcome that failure and to, tide over and have that kind of a perseverance, which this exam typically calls for?
The first thing is we have to understand that people who are not UPSC aspirants or people who are not in the UPSC circle, they don't have a clue about the nature of this exam. They
Correct.
think that this is like some 10th standard exam or some college exam where you're studying and you're failing, so they just look at you as a failure. But that's not the case. This is an exam with 0.2% success rate. It's the toughest exam, one of the toughest exams in the world. So if you are failing in the toughest exam in the world, that is not equal to failing in any exam. So that is the first perspective that we should have. Then secondly, one of the things that will really help you is to have good friends, because family again they will help you. Parents will motivate you. They will be there for you, but they also are outsiders to the exam, so they wouldn't actually understand how much difficult the exam is. So if you have friends from the UPSC circle itself, it's funny also. Like every time you fail, and many of them would have not cleared, or some of our friends would have cleared. So you can at least joke to them. Like that one, there is some Hindi song also, no, Hala Tupe something, Rona or something. And like we used to crack these kind of jokes even when we are failing and when we are in a bad mindset. We would look at each other and laugh. What is this happening? So that really helps you. That peer group really helps you. And third thing is motivational songs and motivational movies. So this is my one thing that I did. Whenever I take a bath in the morning, I'll play motivational songs. So after a point, this was my daily routine. I have such a motivational song collection in different languages. So when I take a bath, I'll play these songs. So that will set the mood of the day. I'm like, okay, no matter what happens, this today I'm going to persevere. I'm going to do this. So that really helps. Then motivational movies. So when you're taking a break, try to watch positive motivational movies so people are they're achieving their goals. Don't watch too many sad movies because already you are sad. On top of that, you see that I don't think. So that was another thing that helped me.
Anu, were there any moments during this long period when you were on the brink of quitting the preparation and the journey?
Not to preparation, but there were moments when I completely gave up on like life. Where I felt that there were moments where I felt that I actually wrote a poem called Rock Bottom and shared it on my Facebook. So that was my mental state, especially when that last I told you, sir, like in 2018 I missed the prelims cut off by 1 mark. So and in prelims sometimes what happens is we pray also 50%. If you eliminate two options, then there are two options. So then I prayed also, God, please let this 50. I know that one of the two is correct. Please let me get the correct answer, and I marked it. And that question was wrong. And eventually, when the marks were out, I realized that I missed by 1 mark. And that was my fourth attempt. Okay, so that day I was like, God, you have like, what is this? You've given up on me. So I have had those lows,
Yes.
but it's again a passion. It's my dream. So I felt that I would do injustice to myself. Like if you really, it's not about clearing or not clearing. It's about doing justice to yourself. If you really have a dream, if I had given up on it, let's say when I'm 40 or 50,
Yes.
when I look back, I'll be like, okay, I'm one person who didn't. I gave up on my dream. I all throughout my life I will be having that regret. I didn't want that regret. Even though after six attempts also I didn't clear, and everybody thought I was a failure, and I had not married, so that rebel label was also there on me among my family members.
Yes.
So that was I was willing to take that. Because what I was not willing was when I'm in my midlife, I don't want to look back and look like a person who gave up on their dream. I was ready to face the consequences of pursuing my dream like a mad person. So I was willing to face the consequences of that.
Anoop, can you share with us the role that your parents and immediate family, what roles they have played in your success?
I really have to thank my
Because we
parents
don't see
because
them, nobody will see them. You will be the face of the success, but I'm sure as much
yes,
effort, as much the foundation has been prepared by your parents. Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Both of them have contributed. Say after my 10th standard, sir, I studied in CBSE. I had around 94% in my 10th. I told my parents I want to take humanities as a subject. This is in Kerala at least everybody is going for engineering and medicine. Nobody is even thinking of humanities. There is a general notion that people who take humanities they take it because they don't have any other choice. So in that circumstance, I am going and telling my parents I want to take humanities, and my parents were like, okay, fine, if you like it, you take it. They allowed me to do that, and then I went to IIT initially to take economics as a subject. Later, after 2 years, so we choose a subject after 2 years. That's how the course is framed. So after 2 years, I told my parents I want to take English, and that to English literature. That's I don't know. Arts degree has such less value in the present society. My
Yes.
parents were like, okay, if you like it, you take it. Then after, so when we fail, when our child fails, it's like we are failing for parents. And every time I fail, they inside their mind they would have been faced. I mean, there would be so much tension for me and sadness at my failure. But they never showed that to me. They were especially my father. He used to tell, okay, you write again, no problem, you write again. It's
Yes.
okay. And other people will be asking them questions. What's your child doing? You are not marrying her off. She's becoming old. What irresponsible parents are you? So they are the ones answering those questions. But they have been there like a shield for me. I think most aspirants will have the same story to tell that how their parents supported them.
Absolutely.
That's so I really thank them.